Hello there chums and welcome back. George here at Bigger Feet, and I'm very excited today because I get to show you something we've been sitting on for almost a year now. A music video we made last summer with Joel P and Siri, and today's the day it comes out. In fact, it's out right now. There's a link in the description. You can go and watch it after you've watched this video, which is basically just a breakdown of some of the effects and the compositing stuff and the fun things that we did on this video. Joel and Siri asked us to make something kind of fun and summery and colourful, and so we took that as an opportunity to experiment with a few new techniques and a few new tools and learn a little bit while we were doing something a bit interesting. So I'll show you a few of the most interesting bits now, starting with this transition through the car door. And now it's not perfect, right, but it's pretty cool what's going on here. We start out in the street and the guys go into the back seat of the car. We obviously took two shots which were as closely matched in terms of camera movement as possible. So into the car, round the corner, through the door. So here's the one just with the back seat of the car, and we move through the door and all the way in, and then the same shot on the other side, which we've had to like just slightly warp and perspectivize to get it to match as well as possible, but you can see there's the same sort of movement, a push right in along the back seat there. Now the way those two kind of marry together and match up is that we obviously have to go through frame by frame and track the shape of the car door onto the footage in the meadow. Basically looks like this. There's an evolving mask with multiple points that we have to move frame by frame to match the shape of the car door as it opens and as we swing around it. And of course we've duplicated the footage and kind of blurred it in the background to give that light spill and cover up some of the rough edges a little bit. Now all of that was reasonably simple. The thing that I didn't realise would be quite so difficult was timing it perfectly. If you watch the video closely, the first couple of lines of the lip sync are a little bit off. This is not Joel's fault, it's mine. And they start syncing up about there, which is completely my fault. So I had to do a lot of like time stretching, speeding up and slowing down of these clips to get the positions and the movement to match in time. Surprising how difficult an element that was. We were so focused on getting the shape of the movement to match that we didn't quite get the timing of the movement to match. So, you know, lesson learned, and there's something to enjoy next time. Now, this next thing is pretty cool. Also, just some like compositing stuff. Obviously, a lot of this isn't real. These multiple people aren't real, and these additional giant pinwheels in the background aren't real, but they're composited in. And that's basically as simple as going ahead and filming the pinwheel against a black background. And then that can be taken and duplicated and slotted in pretty much everywhere we want it. 3 in the middle background, 3 in the far distance, behind the trees, but obviously in front of the sky. And I'm not going to go through frame by frame and like draw around the edges of all the trees and like every single frame you need to, that's way too complicated. So what we did was create some mats where the shape of the tree line against the sky is full contrast black and white. So everything that's white, the computer knows to keep, and everything that's black, it throws away. And so you get transparency behind the trees. You can put the pinwheels in there and then put the sky in behind them again. So there's like 3 layers: sky, pinwheels, trees. And that was just like shockingly difficult to do. You can still see around the edges, there's a few little imperfections, but it's a nice little effect in the end. So then moving on, there's this transition through the pinwheel to a new scene. And this is one long take where Joel walks across from left to right, past 3 different couches where Siri appears on each one. Bit of movie magic there. She's not really 3 people, and this isn't a split screen thing. This is just her getting up after she goes out of shot and running behind the camera and jumping to the next couch and looking as casual as she can. I spotted after we delivered the edit, actually, there's just this moment where you can see her in the reflection of the glass just hopping up and running, which I think is kind of actually a bit lovely. But then there's a few little practical bits of choreography here that are nice. So Joel's got this Rubik's Cube, which he tosses out of frame to Daniel, who shows up in the reflection there also. Hello, Daniel, the real hero of this shoot. Now, the main set piece of this is this moment with the bubbles where Joel blows out some bubbles and they kind of fly around and disappear after a moment. We tried doing this practically on set and it just wasn't realistic. It couldn't work because he would have had to spend the whole thing with like a mouthful of bubbles. So we made them in 3D in Blender, and this is what that looks like. It's way more simple than it might seem. That is actually a 3D simulation of the bubbles being sort of emitted and flying around in zero gravity and then popping. There are a couple of things, again, that we did to like just sell this slightly and tie it into the footage. So in the background behind those bubbles, there's a sort of screen, so to speak, with the footage on it. That's just there so that the light coming through the bubbles is kind of the right colors and shapes. It's not perfect, again, it's not like locked to the shape in 3D or anything, but it is just to get some of the right lights and colors. And then as the shot moves, you get some of the right reflections and some of the right background elements coming through, like where Joel raises his hand here, you can see there's just that color coming into all these refractions, which is kind of nice. And again, it's not perfect, but it's a lot better than just having like PNGs of bubbles. Now, if we were going to do this even better and improve on this, you'd do an HDRI on set, which is a high dynamic range image. You'd take basically a 360 image of the space that you're working in to cast light onto these 3D elements so that they'd pick up like highlights from the sky and reflections sort of from the front, as well as that light passing through from the back, and it would make it look a bit more dynamic and three-dimensional and real. I've kind of faked that up after the effect just now with this artificial area light. That's just literally like a strip light that I've put into the scene after the effect, and it makes quite a big difference. You can see it kind of catches a little highlight on the top of the bubbles and makes them look a bit more like they have some volume. So, you know, again, living and learning, that's what we might do next time, just to improve these sorts of looks slightly, but it still looks pretty cool in the finished thing. So again, moving on, there's this lovely stuff under the bridge, and we pretty much left that alone because just the colors and the lighting are so nice. A bit of architectural composition there. I'm quite big on like shots where the shape of the space define the sight lines and things. With lots of lovely stuff going on there. And then there's all these just fun transitions through the water and out of a drink. Now this is a fun one. We just did a sort of extension of the split screen thing to include 6 different couches. And to get high enough for this shot, I had to stand on the roof of the car and shoot down. By far the most daring and dangerous element of this shoot. And then there's this fun transition where Joel looks off into the distance with his binoculars, and Siri's there with a toy dog, which becomes a real dog. And just a couple of simple things about that. We've added like a little bit of artificial camera shake at the transition point there, just to make it look like there's some impact, and there's a little dust cloud that appears around the real dog. It's an unbelievably simple effect there, but it kind of just those little elements tie it in and make it feel a bit more believable. And sometimes the simplest things are the best and the most interesting. So like here, for example, right? Oh, lovely dog, by the way. What a gorgeous dog. Hello, dog. One of the things about this video is all the different scenes have different color themes, and this one has a lot of like nice soft blue in the background, this kind of teal or greeny blue color. In this particular shot, it's not really there. We had to fake it. I think it's quite cool that you can do that. There's nothing very complicated about this, but basically we just masked off that little section and told the computer, hey, look, anything that's red, make it blue, please. And it just does. I love that. And that just works by selecting a zone of color and saying like anything in that reddish, orangish range, just offset the color and make it bluer. Yeah, I like that. That's simple and powerful. And there's another example of like just simple, powerful change at the very end. There's this nice soft focus shot with these lovely bokeh lights in the background, and it was basically ruined by the fact that it was full of noise. The original footage, very noisy, because we're filming at night, so there isn't that much light coming into the camera, and the sensor has to try and distinguish system noise from real signal, real information, and it can only do so well. But one of the things that DaVinci Resolve does incredibly well is noise reduction. It just cleans that up so nicely, and it gives this lovely soft dreamy cast to the background there. Yeah, so I'm a fan of that. That's pretty powerful. Same deal to an even more extreme level, I think, with this shot. You got lots of like crackly, messy noise in the sky and on this building here, and just there it goes. So there you go, lots of fun making cool stuff happen in this music video, and you should go and check it out. Go and click on the link in the description below, tell them that Bigger Feet sent you, and hope you love it. We'll be back again soon with more video production fun, so stick around, subscribe to the channel, like the video, all that good stuff, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching, bye. Jag vill bara ta det som det kommer, inget tid för någon drama eller nonsens. Jag vill bara ha renhet i min omkrets. Är det genuin, haka på.